This is Trade Flow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. Trade Flow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. Ukrainians conserved electricity and some went without running water on Thursday to ease pressure on the grid and allow the repair of infrastructure destroyed by Russian airstrikes as Kyiv's forces advanced towards the city of Kherson. Although Ukraine is successfully prosecuting counter-offensives against Russian forces in the east and the south, it is struggling to protect power-generating facilities and other utilities from Russian missile and drone strikes which appear designed to disrupt and demoralize as winter approaches. People across Ukraine tried to use less power on Thursday after the government placed restrictions on electricity usage nationwide for the first time since Russia's February 24 invasion following a barrage of attacks which President Volodymyr Zelensky said had struck a third of all power plants.
Oil prices rose by more than 1% on Thursday on News China as considering easing COVID-19 quarantine measures for visitors, boosting hopes for increased energy demand in the world's top oil importer. Brent crude futures rose $1.30, or 1.4%, to $93.71 a barrel by 11:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 15:07 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude for November delivery, which expires on Thursday, rose $1.76, or 2.1%, to $87.31 per barrel. WTI for December delivery was up $1.45, or 1.7%, at $85.97 per barrel.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
U.S. firms developing a new generation of small nuclear power plants to help cut carbon emissions have a big problem. Only one company sells the fuel they need, and it's Russian. That's why the U.S. government is urgently looking to use some of its stockpile of weapons-grade uranium to help fuel the new advanced reactors and kickstart an industry it sees as crucial for countries to meet global net zero emissions goals. Production of HALEU is a critical mission and all efforts to increase its production are being evaluated, a spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, said.
European Union leaders went into their second summit in 2 weeks on Thursday to find solutions to the energy crunch they all face, but a rift over whether to put a ceiling on gas prices set the stage for a long night of testy talks. The EU Parliament's chief said as the meeting got underway in Brussels that Europe's citizens were looking for direction as they grapple with the spillover effects of Russia's assault on the way of life we have long taken for granted. Russia has cut gas flows to Europe following its February 24 invasion of Ukraine, which has pushed energy prices higher, fanned inflation and raised the prospect of recession across the continent.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Possible sanctions on Russian metal, lawsuits, a battle to recover trust and a slump in nickel trading after the March fiasco are just some of the headwinds facing the London Metal Exchange, LME, as the industry prepares to meet in the British capital. Market fundamentals and industry developments typically dominate talks between producers, traders, miners and end users, crowned by cocktails and dinner in London's Mayfair district. But front and foremost this year will be the biggest crisis to hit the world's oldest metals forum in decades after it was forced to cancel all nickel transactions on March 8 as prices climbed to a record above $100,000 a ton in disorderly trade.
Aluminium prices rose on Thursday after a four-session slump as inventories slipped and investors hoped that China would ease its strict COVID-19 restrictions. Prices of metals, including copper, also got a boost in European afternoon trade as the dollar index deepened losses following U.S. data that showed factory activity pulled back in October. A weaker dollar makes greenback-priced metals cheaper for buyers using other currencies. 3-month aluminium gained 2.1% to $2,215 a ton by 1600 GMT, after sliding 8% over the past 4 sessions. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Russia's foreign ministry said on Thursday that Moscow was ready to boost exports of food and fertilizers to help avert a global food crisis, but was being blocked from doing so by the United States. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said Washington was blackmailing and persecuting those that try to trade with Russia and was therefore compromising global food security. The U.S. has not directly targeted Russian agricultural exports, but sanctions on Russia's shipping, insurance, logistics and payments infrastructure are thwarting Russia's ability to export crucial fertilizers and chemicals, Moscow says.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to Trade Flow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at Trade Flow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.